Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be looking at The Realist, The Last Day on Earth by Asaf Hanuka. This is from Archaea Press. It's a collection of like one-page strips that he was doing for a newspaper. It just came out, just came out the other day. Pre-ordered it on Amazon. I guess this is the third or fourth volume of a series of collections of these that have been out previously. I've seen some of them around and and been interested in it, but this is the only one I've got. I'll have to get the other ones eventually. I've been a huge fan of Asaf's work for a long time, going back to a book that he did with his brother Tomer. I forget what that was called. Off the top of my head, I'm not going to remember it. I know Pizzeria Kamikaze I have by them and I enjoyed, and I've seen some of his other work. I have another one from, I believe it's Tomer. I'm not sure. It's more like a fantasy novel. Anyways, I've been fans of both of their work for a long time. I remember Tomer did a lot of illustrations and comic book covers in the early 2000s, but I always felt like Tomer was the more celebrated of the two, at least back then. But I always liked Asaf works better. It's like crisper. So really excited to get this book. I still really like his art style. I really like his line, and I see where he could have been. I don't know if he was, but it seems like the way that he approaches his line work, that like this is like an early version of what I've seen more of recently with artists like Ryan Otley, kind of having this line style. Um, James Herron, artists along those lines seem to have this line style, but then add more to it. So I wonder if he's influential to some of these guys or not, but I really like it. Even like Gabriel Ba or something, it has that line quality to it. And then I've always really liked his coloring. I think because I'm such a fan of like combining realism with the animation cut style coloring, like his illustrations like this really appealed to me when I was younger. It's not as appealing to me now. I think my tastes have moved on a little bit, but I still really like those cartoony cuts merged with the more realistic artwork. And he does that very well, like on the shark here. But then here with this kids is more cartoony. So this is something it's just like a hard sell for me on how much I'm gonna enjoy the reading experience of it. It's probably something I should have read one a day because they came out like once a week or something like that in the newspaper. And then just by dint of the fact of it being largely autobiographical, anyone who's followed the channel knows that like these diary type of comics don't really appeal to me so much. But he's such a good artist. Like I enjoyed it, and I actually read the book in two sittings, so that's to the strength of the book. And as with always with this type of format, I guess it's just how much you respond to any given strip that you're gonna like it, and so you have to expect in a book like this that you're gonna respond to some of them and you're not, and that's fine. So like immediately on this first page, like I this made sense to me because Tori and I had just gone to the Atlanta Aquarium like the day before I got this and read it, and so we were there with all the families taking pictures and just absolutely in awe of the whale sharks and all the animals there, and really enjoyed ourselves. So I got this, and I think this is extra funny where it looks like the shark's gonna eat the kids. Um, but that's like gonna happen. You're gonna get those kind of fun tangential moments. And I don't know. Of course I like that one. Plus it's a badass illustration. He's a great colorist. I love his stuff. So I'll just go through and point out some things I liked and some things I didn't like. What the ones I do like are the ones like this where it's just dialogue and they have a nice little punchline to them. Like the wife is kind of hurry, come on, faster all day, and then at home they're having sex and just like wait, go slower. That kind of stuff is funny. Like it's more like I don't know, like a Seinfeld observation or something. And you could strip away the autobiographical component. It could work whether it's autobiography or not. And so himself and his wife, it doesn't really matter. He could have drawn anyone in there and still got the same point across. And so I like those. I like those moments. And I think if you're going to do this type of daily or weekly observation, that's probably the best way to do it. in my opinion, in my estimation, just because it seems more universal like that. The ones that are more difficult for me to consume are the ones like this, where it's mostly like journaling or exposition, or it's saying I, me, this is what I think, this is what I feel. Uh, those ones are a little bit more of a barrier, because you really are hoping that someone's going to, especially when they get political, you're hoping that someone's going to have like the same opinion as you, to be able to consume it and enjoy it, like, or you're hoping that you challenge someone, but that's probably not going to happen. I mean, like in this one, I thought it was interesting because Asaf's a Israeli Jew living in Israel. He is talking about like how we've overused the word Nazi, like, hey, you cut in front of me in line, you Nazi. And he's admitting, whenever I call someone a Nazi, a fascist, an anti-Semite, a Judeo-Nazi, etc., I immediately turn into a hero in my own eyes, or a victim, or both. And so he's talking about the dangers of diminishing that language, and the dangers of using that to like justify hurting someone else. Like you punch them because they're a Nazi, but that there are still real Nazis. So like political point, like I think it's well made, and a point that I agree with, and so it's easy to consume that. But that format of the strip I don't get. For the political cartoons, I like these ones better. They're like a big strip, and it's funny to see a political cartoon be so big and color and stuff like that. I just think that's interesting. Another one that I found, really unappealing to me is like this here, and there's not even like a punchline or really much of a moral. It's just like some little realization he had about himself, and he's putting that down on paper. I don't know that needs to go out into public, and I don't know that many people, at least myself, I don't find much worth in reading that one. But it's also daily or weekly, or however often you're banging these out. Like, you're not going to have great insight every time. Like I said, that's just part of the format. The pressure of that type of project, you can't have something worth saying every week necessarily. And people who can find something worth saying every week are very admirable. So that type of format strip I don't like. But then like this one, that again, I can just kind of put anyone in there. I know it's him, but this idea of Little House on the Prairie, we're going to have this great vacation, and woke up, what's wrong? Oh, I had a nightmare. That's more consumable for me, at least. This one I really resonated with, and again, it's in that format I like more. But also, I've had this experience where Tori likes really, really soft beds, and I like really firm beds, and we went to like a Sleep Number store to try and find a Sleep Number bed that we could both have it the way we like. And even there, like, the Sleep Number beds were way too cushy for me, and the only one that actually would be cushy enough for her and firm enough for me, like on the, like, being able to adjust the numbers, was like $10,000 or something. But this, like him sinking into the bed and being like, is this good for our backs? And her like, this is great, this is the perfect one. That's how I felt. So I don't know. Those are the ones that land for me. It's just the day-to-day family life stuff. Like, I didn't, I don't have kids, but it's like Louis C.K. I don't have kids, but when he talks about having kids, I still, like, something about it, like, translates to me. I can imagine it. Whereas this, where he's talking about, it's interesting because it's political cartoons from Israel, so it's kind of a peek into this other country, but I don't know. I feel like he definitely has his viewpoint and is trying to win you over on it or sell you on it. And that's less interesting to me. There's a couple points where he talks about, like questioning facts and things. But every time I've seen anyone talk about questioning facts, they're really, I don't know, there's still an agenda behind it in a certain way. Like when this book gets into COVID, he's very much like, you better go get vaccinated and da-da-da, and it's just, I don't know, it's like messaging instead of expression at that point. This one I really like here, just this one-off cartoon, like, the kind of more realistic illustration with the silly, like, cake in the stomach. This is where he falls into the trap that I think every cartoonist has to do it, especially if they're doing a weekly thing is like, I don't have any ideas this week, so I'm gonna do a strip about me not having any ideas. And I don't know, if I was committed to doing something like that, I would just avoid that at all costs personally, because it's like the X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer type of shows are supernatural. I feel like they're always gonna have like a musical episode or something stupid like that. I feel like that's the cartoonists. I don't have any ideas. Cop out. So I don't know. It's it's a good book, but by the nature of what it is, it's going to be inherently uneven. Someone just on the spot. You can't wait till it's a great idea. So I still enjoy him quite a bit as an illustrator. There's things about his style now that I'm older that don't land as well. Like some of the stuff that he does is stuff I would have been chasing when I was younger, and my tastes have just moved on a little bit. But overall, I find it a really enjoyable book. I've liked all of his stuff that was more narrative, so I'm going to keep an eye out for other stuff of his that's narrative. I don't think all of his work has been translated, but I would love it because I do still really quite love his work. And the production on this is pretty good. The line art's definitely been halftone, but he's got nice thick lines, so it's only me sticking my face in it looking for it that I can tell. The colors are lovely. That page is great, and his power as an illustrator comes through, and there's just some really compelling images in the book. So I'm really glad I got it. I would definitely recommend it for you. I think there will be for any given person, there will be pages they enjoy and pages that don't land. That's fine. That's what you get in a book like this. So it's well worth it. It's he's a really great artist and a great cartoonist, and somebody I admire. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel, there's two ways you can support us. One is to contribute to our Patreon. That's an easy way to help both Sean and I. But really, the best thing that you could do is support the books that Sean has coming out or has put out from Living the Line. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some of those now. The Abolition of Man is a 5-issue mini-series done by myself and Sean in collaboration with the Midjourney AI. What you're seeing here is the cover to issue 1 and the first couple pages of issue 1. This first issue, we fed it an essay by C.S. Lewis, and this is just the imagery that the computer spat back at us. Issues 2 and 3 are a narrative, starting with the story that I wrote when I was 21, and then Sean's going to write issue 3, picking up where I left off. In this one, I'm kind of trying to force the AI to give me the images I want, and then doing some tweaking in Photoshop to get these kind of colored looks on it. For issue 4, we're turning the task of writing over to the AI as well. So the AI has written the script, and then we've just put that into the Midjourney AI, and it's turned out art. The script and the art is some of the absolutely most horrific stuff I've ever seen. We're a bit scared to even publish this issue. And I don't have any art to show for it yet, but Sean and I have decided to do a 5th issue of Abolition as well, because we have someone who we're really, really excited to have on board, providing an essay for that 5th issue that we'll illustrate, and we'll announce more about that soon. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.